Hello, thank you for tuning in again. We've got another gear review for you today. Today we're going to be reviewing this nice little tent. This is a Naturehike Cloud Peak 2. This is kind of Naturehike's first foray into a four-season style tent. As you can see here, comes obviously the tent, and you also get a footprint. Now the footprint allows you to pitch the tent just fly only. This guy is a fly first pitch tent, so the fly goes up and the inner hangs inside. So if you wanted to put the fly up and on, you definitely need to have the footprint there to keep it all together. Now, just a quick discussion on materials. This comes with a 20 denier nylon fly. It has a PU coating on the inside and it's siliconized on the outside. It's got also seam setting inside, that's why they PU coat it. And also the floor is a 20 denier floor as well. Again, all fly and floor 4000mm proofing. Now this is going to fill the gap. I got rid of my Hexpeak F6E for a number of reasons, mainly because of the large footprint size, and I was a little bit dubious about its wind shedding capabilities. Because of the size of it, it just made it a bit difficult to get tight and a few other bits, and also condensation problems. So I flicked that on and going to replace it with this guy. Now, I would be more hastened to describe this tent as a 3++ season. It's not a full-on, although Naturehike says it's 4 season, it's not the sort of thing you want to take up the side of, you know, Everest or something like that. It's not a full-on expedition style tent. Probably it's got kind of a foot in both camps. The main reason why I'm hesitant to call it a full-on 4 season tent is that the poles are not super heavy duty, and the inner has a lot of mesh in it. And that's probably, the poles not so much a problem, but the inner on the inside makes for a colder tent, which is kind of handle there, because you can obviously offset that with more insulation with your sleep system. But it does mean if you're getting a lot of spin drift and condensation and stuff, it's generally going to freeze on the mesh, which causes obviously issues with airflow, but it also means that then you end up with a lot of ice accumulating inside your tent in bad conditions. So also it's not super lightweight. This is 2.3 kgs on my scales, all up weight. That's everything, poles, pegs, but not this footprint. That's not with the footprint. The footprint's another 230 odd grams to add to that. All right, so what we'll do is we'll pop the poles and the pegs out and we'll have a quick look at those and discuss some ins and outs in them, and then we're going to put the tent up so you can have a good look at it, because it is a really cool tent. I'm actually definitely quite excited about this tent, because it is a really cool tent, and I can't wait to get it out and actually get it into some bad weather and see how it performs. Okay, here we have a look at the pegs and the poles. So standard fare again, standard fare some Naturehike tent pegs. They're kind of like a groundhog, MSA groundhog copy. I would probably think for most things in the UK these would be okay-ish. If you're going to be pressing this into a bit more sort of wintry use, where you're going to have a lot more bad weather or not so good ground to whack them into, I'd probably upgrade the pegs. Not for weight, but for just holding power, go for some longer ones. Some of the MSR, they do the big long aluminium ones that look like knitting needles. I usually buy the cheap Chinese versions of those. They seem to be really quite bomb proof. They hold up all my family tents. So yeah, there's something to think out upgrading wise. Now poles, again, these are just the standard Chinese 7000 series aluminium pole with the standard style ferrule, so not like Dex ones. Again, not a massively thick pole. It's about an 8mm pole, sort of a standard 3-season backpacking pole tent. Now with this, you could, if you wanted to, again, replace it with an Eastern pole, which would give you probably more strength. And also with this, just basic poles, so it's really easy to do that. You don't need any special hubs, or there's no sort of bendy joints or anything there that are going to cause you a problem. You just basically, if you order up enough pole lengths, you can whack one of these up yourself. So in the future, maybe, just to give you a bit of peace of mind, but I think these are going to be still relatively serviceable for most of the stuff I do. I haven't really broken a pole in anger before. I've fallen on a few tents and broken them in my drunken state, but all right. So, and they're 3 identical lengths, so they're not going to be difficult to put up in adverse conditions or in the dark. Right, so what we'll do is we will sort out putting this tent up, and you can see how it pitches, because it is quite clever how it goes up. Okay, so first things first, I've just pegged the tent out. So as I said, it's connected, so the inner and outer are all one piece, so you're not going to have to worry too much about how to pitch it. So let's put some poles in. I'm going to have to shout probably so you can hear me, but pretty straightforward. There's the 3 poles. What's kind of interesting with these poles is some of them have a slight bend in them, like a pre-bend in them, others don't. So probably neither here nor there really. So let's fire this up. So 3 poles. As you can see, it's fairly quick to put up. There's not a lot of messing around, and bearing in mind the inner is attached as well, so this is it. Go around, put your pegs up, put your clips up, like so. Cool, and then these hooks as well. These I presume just go where the intersections are. So, try and do it gracefully, it's the problem. Right, and then as I said, it's got a sort of strange umbrella piece, which is what the Heliberg one has as well. So it's not, this is not unique to just this little tent. A couple of versions of the Helibergs have this. There you go, basically pitched. Voila. So what we'll do a bit of a flyby and have a look at this outer, because as I said, it's a really clever tent. So we'll do a little bit of wobbling in my tripod, but just bear with me. So let's have a look at this little canopy that goes on top. It just clips on with these clips, standard hooks like you see on the inside of some of these tents, and it flicks over. Why why we have this is that the top of the tent has 2 mesh vents in the fly sheet. So if you didn't have this on here, this obviously the rain would go straight through into the inner. So that kind of allows for a massive venting system in the top of the canopy. So again, condensation should be relatively well controlled. It's got 2 doors, so we've got one on this side, and we have one identical all the way around here on the other side. So that's quite cool. So it's double entrances, 2 vestibules as well. So quite a clever system. And okay, Heliberg is basically was the one that designed it, and Naturehike has taken cues off there. Why I'm saying not full on winter, and the only 2 reasons I say possibly for that is pole wise, might need some sturdier poles, which is a fixable thing. You could put your eastern poles in there, and it's more for your peace of mind, because I think these poles are pretty strong. They should be able to have put up with quite a fair bit of abuse wind wise. And once you've actually tied this out, it's quite a solid, I mean there's a lot of pegs holding this thing down, and it's quite a solid shape. So it should also sort of shed the wind a fair amount. So it's pole wise. Now I was thinking, hey, you could actually get away with double poling this, but you can't, unless you really start doing a lot of messing around with it. you've only got these clips, and these clips are the sized for this pole, so it wouldn't be ideal to double clip it. You'd have to do a lot of messing around to get it like that, and it possibly wouldn't be worth it. So yeah, poles, so that's one of the reasons. The other reason, for a winter tent, it's got quite a bit of mesh in it. It's not fully, we'll have a look in a minute when we go inside, but it's not a fully sealed up tent, so to speak. It's got a lot of mesh inside, so that is one sort of, it's a plus and a minus depending on what you want to use it for. All right, I'm thinking, yeah, I mean, as long as you're not with tons of spindrift blowing around, tons of wind loading and stuff like that, this would be fine for most places in the UK. I think it would be able to stand up to a fair amount of wind. It's fairly strong with that crossover and stuff at the top. It's not your everyday dome, put it that way. So just on the outside too, looking wise, having those two doors is a bonus. Gives you, obviously, you can entrance and you can put all your kits on the other side, and being a two-man tent too, you obviously everyone has their own entrance. They also have these little features where they've really thought about it. They put a strap over where the vestibule is, and that stops the pole from migrating apart when it's any strong wind and all that. It gives the tent a lot more strength that way. If you really wanted to, you could probably get away with sticking a couple of extra guy ropes, because you'd actually clip them to here, you could tie them onto here, and that would actually, again, you could do a double guy rope off here and come down to the ground. See how we go. One thing I probably am going to do with this is, at least on one or two of these points, I'm going to take these clips off and possibly put either wire them, like tie them straight into these hooks, to these loops, so that you can't lose this, because obviously you're trying to put it on and it's going to be flapping in the breeze and all the rest of it. It's going to be hard not to have it blow away, and it's kind of mission critical. So to keep your tent dry, so I would actually just take maybe just one of these hooks off and tie it straight into this ring, and that way it can't go anywhere, and you're never going to lose it and leave it behind or anything like that. It's going to be connected to the tent, so that's probably a good idea. Right, so what we'll do is we'll put some bedrolls in, and we'll get inside and have a look at space and that. It really does impress me. I do like this tent. It's not often I get super excited about stuff. I'm excited about this one. This is a cool tent. I can't wait to take it out and stick it up a decent mountain in a breeze and see how it goes. Right, so let's get some bedrolls in here and have a look inside. Right, so this is a shot of inside. Today I've got two mats to give us a sort of an idea of floor space. Standard old-fashioned self-inflating thermary, so that's 1.25" thick one. That's in the standard size, so that's more a backpacking sort of style one. And because my New Year's wandering around Scotland with one of my mates, we're going to go with this Trekker, which is a proper car camping one. It's just as thick, but it's just huge and square, and I think it's a bit longer and everything as well. So as you can see here, two of these side by side, not a problem. I think you can always get two of these side by side, it's not a problem as well. So there's plenty of width there, and it's a symmetrical floor, so it's square, so you've got quite a bit of room in there. Now let's have a look for laying down wise. With this big mat, it's actually not as much room as I thought it was going to be lengthwise. So let's have a look. Lay down. See, I'm 6 foot. It's doable. There's a bit of tent to my face there, and my feet will be pushing up against the end there, but there is a fair amount of gap between the inner and the outer, so in theory I shouldn't be having too much problem there. And ideally, on your own, you could easily run two of you here. That wouldn't be a problem. So internally wise, as I was saying before, why I'm recommending more as a sort of 3+ tent and not a full-on dedicated like hardcore winter tent is because of the mesh. Not so much that the tent's going to be cold, because generally you can offset that with the amount of insulation you're going to have anyway in winter time. But you've got this section here is all solid and all this is mesh. So one of the things can happen if you're having obviously in snow conditions, you're going to get spindrift and snow blowing around, and that could actually stick to that and cause you a few issues in the long run. And also there's no way of closing that ventilation down, so if it's freezing cold, all your heat's going to go straight out the top of the tent. There's two vents at the top, there's nothing you can do about shutting those off. And also with that, again, you're going to get, if you get lots and lots of snow blowing around, you're going to get a bit, yeah, I mean, it's theoretical. So you take it out in a big snowstorm, that's, you know, but that's one thing. But in theory, that also means it's not going to have as much condensation because it's going to have a lot of airflow up through here. There's no dedicated vents on the bottom of the tent or anything like that, but it's definitely, there's going to be some airflow in there, which is quite good. That'll suck a bit of the condensation out. Door wise, as I said before, there's the second vestibule, but both the doors, both the inner and outer, are double-ended zips, which is really good. So you can do like I'm doing here, and you can also zip the top down, which is really cool, which is something that I like to see more of. That double-ended zip is a real bonus. So that is very clever. All the zippers have got little pull cords on it, and they've got no jingly zipper pulls, which I know some people complain about in the Helibergs. You've got a hook in the centre, and again, overall sewing wise, I can't see anything that I would think. It's all very straight and all very neat, and there's no missed stitches or anything like that. The mesh is pretty fine, and that's definitely no CM mesh for sure. Now, vestibules, I'll show you vestibules in a minute, but one of my only considerations with this is the door and the drip line with the door. This is basically the door ends, so where the bathtub is and the door is, you're going to get rain coming into your tent if you unzip it from there. So you probably could, don't know, I'm going to have to take it out and try it. But yeah, there's definitely going to be, have to be careful with your undoing your door, because you will get water coming straight in here because of the floor liner, because the roof ends sort of here, and you've got another 6 inches or so between the where the roof ends and where the floor is. So, but who knows, until I use it, I'm not too sure whether that's going to be a massive problem or not. Also, what's really nice is huge doors. They're the width of the tent, so really easy to get in and out of. There's definitely no problems with struggling to get out. You don't have to stoop to get in and out of it. Yeah, pretty cool. It's got a lot of room inside here, a lot of room. Again, two well acquainted adults, you'd be quite happy in there, even with some of your winter kit, because having these double doors, you could easily get a pack in here and then your boots and everything else, and still be able to get in and out. And I wouldn't really cook. Don't like cooking too much in the vestibules unless I've got it open, sort of partially in, partially out. But there's probably enough room if you wanted to cook in there. You could probably just about get away with it if you were careful. So let's have a look at these vestibules. The other side. Now, it's always very difficult to show how big this is, but it's fairly decent. Let's have a look. So foot wise, give me big proofs. 1, 2. It's only 2.5 foot deep. And you've got all that back there you can use, so you could easily put your pack in there and that wouldn't be a problem at all. It wouldn't be touching anything, so that's quite cool. It's a decent sized vestibule for sure. Oh, and if we can get a bit of angle, if we zip this to here, put this out, we go up the top here and have a look down. You can kind of see what I mean drip line wise. This part of the tent comes out quite a bit, so the board is going to go into there. And it's really the design of the tent, and I think the Heliberg suffers somewhat from the same issue as well, so there's nothing to get too excited about, I don't think. We shall see. So yeah, fittings wise, you've still got these little aluminium fittings, so they're again pretty bomb proof, no problems with that. And as you can see, it's bloody quick to put up. One other thing that would be quite cool with this is when it's summertime, and you're taking this somewhere, you could just, when it gets hot, you can flick a couple of these sides off here, and you've got massive ventilation, because there's your vents. So there's that one there, and then round this way, underneath here. Oh, there's the other side. And you can see that crossover there too. It's quite a strong crossover. Right. So all in all, a pretty cool tent. Pretty cool tent. Really liking it. I mean, there's also a lot of guy lines as well. And like the Heliberg one, you could actually wrap that around the Helibergs. So they actually wrap around these poles and then tie out. And that would make a pretty substantial guying point. Pretty substantial. So for a nearly winter tent, it's pretty good. Unbelievably cheap, really. price wise. Okay, you're not getting eastern poles and that, but that's actually easily rectified if you wanted to. If you're desperate to have eastern poles, you could put eastern poles into this and it wouldn't be a problem at all. You wouldn't get the big thick, 10mm ones or 8, the big heavy duty poles. That would still be quite these light gauge poles, but you'd still get eastern ones if you wanted to. So, all right, I'm liking it. It is pretty cool, and hopefully pretty stretched work wise at the moment. So getting out to actually put this up the mountain is going to be a little bit of a stretch. But what's interesting is my line of work that I do partake in, I do get to actually sleep in tents just out and about, and there's one particular place I'm hoping is going to be windy, which is notoriously windy, that we go to. And the last time we were there was 50 odd mile an hour winds, so we'll stick this up. If it's like that, we'll stick it up. And it's an exposed spot near the sea, so there's nothing to break the wind, so we'll see how effective this is. All right, so yeah, it's a nice tent. It's good material. It's a nice green color. It comes in this green and I think it's like a more a purpley blue color. So yeah, I'm liking it. It is a cool tent. Alrighty, so not much else to say until I take it out and give it a bit of abuse. So remember guys, thank you very much for watching, taking time out of your busy days to come see me. Remember to subscribe and hit that bell button as well so you get notifications of any of my upcoming videos. And thank you very much for watching.